Hey everybody, wanted to tell you about a little emergency kit that we just put together. I had a couple of people express interest in some of the gear that I was putting in here, so I'm recording a little video, quick tour of the pack, and I'm going to include some links to specific items from that or products in the description down below the video. So this is kind of a general purpose kit. My sister is moving to another state for college in the near future, and shortly after we heard that she was going to be moving there, I got the news that there was a big tornado that had come through the area. So started thinking about some supplies that might be beneficial to have in that kind of a situation. And this kit is going to be partially a tornado emergency kit and partially a general vehicle roadside emergency kit. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Leave any comments you have in the comments below the video there. Let me know what you think. And there's also going to be a few things I'll go over at the end of supplies that I'd suggest to add to this kit. As this is obviously a multi-purpose, very basic starter pack. So let me know what you think. So we're going to start in the main pocket here. And actually, I'm going to talk first about the pack itself. So this is just a really cheap High Sierra hydration pack, actually, that I picked up at Ross a while back. So I've taken the hydration bladder out of it just to save a little bit of room. It does have some kind of cheap molly webbing and so forth on there. But just your average basic hydration pack, got the little bicycle helmet pocket, which we'll never use, and so forth. The trauma kit pouch on the front here is from a company, I believe it's called NC Star or Vism, but I'll link to that below the video. Again, a real cheap kind of knockoff AliExpress trauma kit pouch, but seem to be the best bang for the buck. So we'll come back and talk about those more later. In the main pocket here, we will start with what we got here. We've got some N95 dust masks, real cheap utility gloves, again from AliExpress. We have a microfiber towel. We have a reflective safety vest. This little guy is kind of a fun one. This is the Spare One Plus GSM cell phone. Now, they don't make these things anymore. AT&T and I believe T-Mobile used to carry these things. And the idea was that you have a cell phone that's powered by 2 lithium batteries that only works just for pre-programmed numbers or calling 911. So they've been discontinued. You can't program them through the web portal anymore. So you can't do the pre-programmed numbers and all that good stuff. But they do still work for calling 911. So you can pick these things up occasionally on eBay as cheap as $2 a piece, is the cheapest that I've ever got them for. They come generally with the lithium batteries inside. And just for a dirt cheap cell phone that's always going to have battery life when you need it, running on lithium, the batteries are rated at 15 years, I believe, in these things. You just can't beat it for an emergency 911 only kind of cell phone. And it comes in a nice little waterproof pouch also. We'll come back to the flashlight later, buddy. Let's see, back onto the pack. We got a generic little plastic rain poncho. Very handy to have if you're broken down on the road. We've got a 100-foot hank of paracord. And we have an Eton FRX2 AM/FM and NOAA weatherband radio. This one, again, is a discontinued product. You can pick them up real cheap on eBay. They still work fantastic. There's I believe the Eton Scorpion is kind of the replacement of this one, which I haven't tried, but these ones are, still accessible, used, and good little radios. The thing that I like about this is you can power it and get power out of it in multiple ways. So there is a small solar panel on the side. I've honestly never tried to actually charge the internal rechargeable battery using the solar panel, so I have no idea how long it would take, but it is there. There is also a crank on the side of it. There's a small flashlight, which you can see is, moderately bright in an emergency situation. Then on the front you have your AM, FM, and weatherband controls, small extendable antenna, so forth. The really cool thing to me on this, and all this gear really, is the idea of multiple uses and multiple purposes. So with this same unit here, it has crank power for the radio and the flashlight, but you can also pull open the little cover on the bottom here. You can charge the radio over mini USB, not micro USB, and then you can get power out of the radio crank through a USB port here, which means this can also function as a charger for your cell phone and other accessories. And we'll be talking some more about what those other accessories might be later on in this video. But just be aware that a lot of these items were specifically chosen for the way that they kind of interact and work together. We do have a small flashlight on the outside. This is your run-of-the-mill Surefire knockoff. Again, a little $2 special from AliExpress. Zoomable, pulls in and out. Runs on a single AA battery. Again, chosen for a specific reason, which we'll come back to. But moderately bright, and it does have, you know, high, low, and strobe functionality. You can get these things in a single mode version also, but just run-of-the-mill basic flashlight. Jumping into the smaller pocket here, we got some more goodies. We have a generic 50-cent safety whistle. Will save your vocal cords if you're ever stuck somewhere and trying to get somebody's attention. And this one is my little guy's favorite. This one is a generic $4 LED headlamp. And again, runs on a single AA battery. You may be starting to notice a theme here. Same batteries throughout for all the different pieces of gear. This one is probably not very durable. I've got one like it that I keep in my own truck for emergencies. It's turned on every time I need it, but I probably wouldn't go with this one if it was something I was going to use every single day and subject to hard usage. Oh, that's a good one, isn't it? So here we have a Gerber, I believe this is the MP400 multi-tool. Again, run-of-the-mill Gerber multi-tool. This one does not have a saw or a file built into it. So it does have a nice pair of scissors, knife blade, screwdrivers, can opener, all that good stuff. If you wanted to go something a little more beefy, you could go with the Gerber Diesel or maybe a Leatherman Wave, something would have a few more tools on it. But again, for the price point, you can pick these things up dirt cheap on eBay used, and they'll get the job done. Here we have the Rescue Me glass breaker. Again, incidentally, picked up used off of eBay. Brand new condition. Doesn't look like it's ever actually been used, but it was sold in used condition. This is just a little spring-loaded carbide glass breaker, seatbelt cutter combined. And what I like to do with these is throw them on a small zip tie around the gear selector or gear shift to where in the event of a rollover crash, they're still right there within arm's reach. They're not going to go flying across the automobile. They got some other little clips and things in the box here, which is why I threw it in the Ziploc bag here just to keep everything contained. Here we have 2 Mylar blankets. Again, a very cheap 50-cent special off of AliExpress. You'd be amazed what you can get on there cheap. And for the stuff that you expect to be cheap quality anyway here in the US, there's no reason not to get the off-brand stuff off of Alibaba, AliExpress, GearBest, pick your poison. They're going to cost you dramatically less, and it's the exact same stuff you'd be buying with the name brand here in the US. So 2 of those. Here we have a small length of duct tape. This was just wrapped around a chunk of plastic tubing, piece of paracord through the middle of it to make it easy to clip onto a keychain. But that's about 10 feet of duct tape there. Use your imagination for what all you could use that for. Here we have a Bic Mini lighter. Very useful to have in an emergency situation. Going to the trauma kit, and I'm actually going to cut the video clear off the table real quick here. So this is by no means an exhaustive personal first aid kit or individual first aid kit, but this is a decent starting point for some of the most critical gear. So the pouch that we have here is, again, a generic trauma pouch that I picked up off of AliExpress for about $5. It does come with MOLLE loops, so it fits on, integrates nicely with the backpack itself. Keeps things from flapping around too much. Starting on the outside here, small zipper pouch. We've got 2 pairs of vinyl latex-free gloves. You could go with nitrile, whatever you want, but latex-free is a good thing in a first aid kit so that you don't cause further issue if you're working on somebody. There is another pocket down underneath here that you can put things into. I don't have anything in there right now, but it is there if you need it. Going into the main pouch, I keep the zippers both up top so they're easy to find if there is an emergency situation. Here we have some North American Rescue compressed gauze. I have 2 lengths of that in there. Very useful stuff. We also have an Israeli compression bandage. This is the 4-inch bandage. The 6-inch bandage will also fit in the same pouch. So if you're looking at this and trying to get a sense of the scale of the pouch here, the 6-inch Israeli bandage does fit just fine, but I opted for the 4-inch bandage in this one. Then we have the Rats tourniquet. I'm going to show you my own trauma kit here in just a bit. The reason why I went with the Rats tourniquet on this is that it is a little simpler for somebody to understand how to put on if they've never used a tourniquet before, and it also works on children as well as adults. If you go with the Cat tourniquet, the Sam tourniquet, one of those, they're great pieces of gear. That's what I also carry with me, but they don't work on children. So just be aware that's one of the limitations of those. That's why I chose this one, just more flexibility. And do buy from a reputable supplier. There's way too many cheap knockoffs of these things. Last thing we have in the main pouch is just a cheap generic pair of $2 AliExpress trauma shears. Again, most of this stuff, my philosophy is you're only going to use it once. If I've got somebody's blood all over a pair of trauma shears and I've had to put a tourniquet on them, I'm probably not going to bleach those things and put them back in my trauma kit. They're going to go in the trash can when I'm done. So I'm not worried about a highly durable set of shears that's going to hold up to extended usage, like if you're an EMT and using them every day on the job. As long as they get the job done in one specific situation, hold up to that, that's really all that I care about. So these things are generic. There's not even a name brand on them, but I've used them to cut a couple of test pieces of cloth, just make sure they're sharp, and they'll get the job done. So that's everything in this one. I'm going to cut over here and show you my trauma kit, which is the same pouch and so forth, but just show you a little different variation on it. Alright, here is my personal trauma kit. Again, same pouch as the one that I'm putting on my sister's emergency kit there. Mostly the same gear in here. So we got same 2 pairs of vinyl latex-free gloves, same empty pocket underneath, same molly straps. There you can see without it attached to the bag. And these things are actually pretty beefy. They're stronger than the molly straps on most cheap knockoff bags that I've seen. So I was actually pretty impressed with this. In the main pocket, just wanted to show you guys this. I've got the same 2 lengths of North American Rescue compressed gauze. I've got the same 4-inch Israeli compression bandage. Same pair of shears. But now I also have the Cat Gen 7 tourniquet. So as you can see from the side, that's still easily fitting within the pouch there. So no matter which tourniquet you pick, this pouch is pretty much going to accommodate it. This is the trauma kit that I keep with me, but I do also EDC the Rats tourniquet, again because of the concern with the size of children's limbs, not being able to use the Cat tourniquet on smaller individuals or children. Anyway, so just wanted to show you the Cat Gen 7 tourniquet does fit just fine in this pouch. I'll link to where I got this specific one from in the link below the video. I wanted to go over just briefly a couple of quick things on the emergency kit that I just showed you. Again, that's a basic starting point. There's a lot of gear lacking from it that probably should be added. So I wanted to go over a few things that should be added to that kit that I'm going to be sending over as a recommendation to my sister, and then a few things that I would suggest should be considered adding to the kit as well, depending on your needs. So the first thing that should be added to that kit is a first aid kit. The trauma kit that I have in there is fantastic for traumatic things, but it's not going to take care of just run-of-the-mill minor lacerations, cuts, burns, things like that. So I would suggest adding a small first aid kit to it. You can pick up adequate ones on Amazon for $14. Keep them stocked with Band-Aids and so forth. The other thing that should be added to that is a bottle of water, not just for drinking, but also for first aid purposes. Punch a hole in the top of the bottle, and there you've got the means to irrigate a wound quickly. So that's one more thing that really should be added. The other thing that should be added to this kit is a 4-pack of lithium AA batteries, non-rechargeable, just plain old lithium primaries. And the reason why I'm saying lithium is in a kit like this, the last thing you want is to get in a bind, come out to get your emergency gear and find out that your cheap alkaline batteries have corroded all of your emergency equipment. Alkaline batteries will do that pretty much no matter what you put them in if you leave them long enough. It's just part of the chemical breakdown within the battery cell itself. So lithium is the way to go on these. A little bit more expensive, but they're not going to ruin your gear, and they will still have a charge when you need them. On to a few things that you should consider adding to this specific kit. One of the things I would recommend adding to this, depending on your needs, is a 2-way FRS GMRS radio. This one here is the Cobra CXT 1095. again, very specifically chosen for the reason of batteries. It comes with nickel metal hydride rechargeable batteries, but you can run it off of regular lithium or alkaline AA batteries as well. So again, you'll see a theme here where everything is kind of chosen around a common power source. The other thing that this radio has is a micro USB power input. In the top of the radio here, right next to the headphone jack, you can plug this into a standard cell phone charger, including that little crank radio we just talked about. Crank it for a little while, or quite a little while, depending on how fast you turn it, and it is going to charge your radio back up here. This one also I really like because it's waterproof, it will float, it's shockproof, all that good stuff, and it has the NOAA weather radio bands built into it. So really an all-in-one kind of unit there. It won't do AM, FM, but it'll do pretty much everything else for you. A few other things you might want to think about adding this kit. Pepper spray. Depending on your specific reasons for building or carrying this kit, you may want to think about some defensive items that way. The other thing that I would suggest having as a vehicle safety kit is Siloam glow sticks. Those things are great, as little flares out along the road if you don't like the idea of having flame out there, if you live in an area that's too dry to have open flame on a flare. And they're great to be able to snap and hand to somebody else that wasn't as prepared and doesn't have a flashlight with them. The other thing that I would consider adding to this is a Sawyer Mini water filter. The life straws that everybody seems to be favoring right now are great. I've got a couple of them, but you can't filter water and store it. All you can do is stick your face in a mud puddle and drink from it. The Sawyer Mini gets around that, comes with a little bag that you can filter water into, and much better in an emergency situation. The other thing that I would really suggest adding is reflective triangles. Again, if you're broken down out on the road, you got your rain poncho, you got your safety vest, all that good stuff, but it's a good idea to have some reflective triangles that you can put out and let people know that you're out there. And the other thing that I would add in addition to that bottled water we talked about earlier is a few Cliff Bars or some protein energy source that way. If you're stuck out on the road waiting for a tow truck, you'll probably be glad that you got something like that. So a few things to think about. Not exhaustive by any means, but hopefully gives you guys some ideas, gets you started, and think about what your specific situation is and what you want to be ready for. And I hope this is helpful to you.